Hi, everyone. It's you can kind of sort of see it's an awkward angle, but this is the release angle because I mean I gotta have enough room for the tub of water, and also yeah, this is the surface that I have that has enough room for the tub of water. The other one doesn't, and this is the only angle I can get, so it is what it is. I don't think I've done this over here before, but I talked about it. So I decided to just go ahead and do it. Now, the Spencer's Tarot cards are a weekly release tradition. Sometimes I pull something else. I got the whole box down there. We'll see how I feel as they sort of come out. And these videos aren't really structured in any way. And they kind of sort of go for however long they go for at the same time. So let me adjust. There's actually more water in the tub than I usually have. And it's like it's going up. It's like it's touching my legs. It's above. I mean, it should be above the ankles, but it's like it's a lot. So maybe there's a lot to release. I kind of want to, I'm gonna do it. Put a little bit more Epsom salt in, because Epsom salts draw the toxins out of the body and stuff like that. Yeah. The cold water helps balance the masculine channel, and then the light that I have right. Oh goodness! Oh goodness! Girl, can I not? Like, hello. It took me longer than I'd care to admit, y'all, to get this positioned on here, and I just locked it right off. Well, it is what it is. Perfection is an illusion. It is what it is. What was I even reaching for? See, I'm not gonna get no more salt. Because at first I was like, it's more whiter than I'm used to. I should get more Epsom salt. Then I was like, no, it's fine. And then I was like, well, I'm gonna do it. And then bottom of the deck is Ace of Swords. I think that's us needing to learn how and when to listen. And it's also a Quetzalcoatl or Quetzalcoatl, right? And that's kind of sort of a little bit older and a little bit higher. It's a serpent with wings, and so it's a graduated ego. It's a healed shadow side, or a more healed shadow side. I'm actually going to turn this up a little bit so I can see. Oh, I hope I'm not trying to hit the wrong one. Oh, that's too bright. Oh, I just looked into the light. I think this is okay. Yeah. But it looks super bright on camera. I got to be able to see it, so hey, it is what it is. Ooh, the Tower and the 7. Now it's too much like the 7 of Wands. No, the 7 of Pentacles. The Tower and the 7 of Pentacles. That to me speaks of things that we've been growing that we may be losing here fairly soon. Oh, it is too bright. It's a time of adjustment. I will make do. What's that one song? If you leave, I won't cry, or whatever. It just popped into my mind. Yeah, that is actually easier for me to read. The Tower and the 7 of Pentacles. I feel like sometimes there are certain situations that we kind of sort of allow ourselves to stay in because of all of the time that we put into it, regardless of if it's good for us or not. So the cold water helps balance out the masculine side. Typically the candle helps balance out the feminine side. And I think I'm going to do these more because I keep getting like this heat buildup in my chest. And hopefully this will help calm that down. even though I feel like it's not, because I can feel it building up even more. It's too hot. It's too hot. But I just take it. Let me take this thing off my head to allow my head to vent some air. Get that Kundalini energy flowing. Look, bottom of the deck again. That Ace of Swords. So let's start to dive into this. Let's see, what does the collective need to release first? Oh, goodness. I am going to pull the Energy Oracle cards. I feel like my right foot just got really hot, which is interesting because that doesn't typically happen. And the water isn't ice cold, but it's cold enough. Here they are. No, where are my Energy Oracle cards? Hello? There they are. I got my handy dandy card storage kit right here. What the? Oh! Oh, goodness. Oh, gosh. Hold up. Which one was that? Yep. Am I using these? No. Oh, well, we'll see. The Ascendant edition of the Weaver Tarot just fell on the floor. Maybe they want to be used. Some I damn want to use you. I saw this interview recently of what's her name, y'all? Jane Fonda, I think, in the 70s. And it was about the LGBTQ community. And the person who was interviewing her was like, you know, is the community or is this organization using you? And she was like, you know, like, hopefully, yeah, like, why not? That's like what we do. Like, and you could also ask if I'm using the organization, right? And it's about reciprocity and it's about giving when you take, right? Okay. It's a little hard for me to see where the table ends and the floor begins. So I'm going to try my best to not just place these all on the floor. But I actually want to start with an Energy Oracle card. And then we'll move hostilities and all tied up at the cut. There we go. Hostilities and all tied up. That to me is like, that's that caged animal that kind of sort of goes berserk. It's someone who lashes out because of the things that they feel bound to within themselves. So let's not do that. Let's see. What can the collective stand to release this week, today, in this season? I mean, we are sort of like, I don't know. It's so interesting. I feel like low-key timelines are kind of sort of starting to split. And as far as what that means, I don't know. It's something that I've been observing a little bit, but it's also starting to make itself known in very physically observable ways. And the contrast is interesting. Okay. Can I get a card, please? Let's do this slow, because Hostilities in reverse. They're all in reverse. Hostilities with the woman holding a heart. I don't necessarily want to keep talking about it, but it screams envy to me. And not only that, but it's just like there's almost this energy of like, I'll do this when that happens, and I'll do that when this happens. And if I had this, then everything would be good. If I had that, everything would be good. I'd be happy if I had that one thing that makes me happy. And it is kind of sort of cliche, but you know, when people say that happiness is something that you find inside of you, it's kind of true. Can y'all hear the fan? Because the fan is like pointed right on top of this. I'm gonna actually, where my phone is, I'm gonna get in here and see if I can hear it. I literally just had this thing. Hello? Here it is. I was like, y'all ain't playing, don't play games with me today, please. Not today, please, not today. Not today. Okay, hold it. What was I looking at? Yes. I need to stay focused. I can hear it. But I can't turn it off now because I can't. My feet are in the tub. I can't get up. So we're going to have to deal with it, unfortunately. But it is what it is at the same time. So hostilities with the woman holding the heart. It could be like people who are holding on, afraid of being left behind. If you come into everything that you need to come into, but now is not the time to be trying to piggyback people because there's a lot of stuff starting to crack under the pressure. That like we've been in a pressure cooker for a minute now, but I mean it's kind of sort of been for us to begin alleviating the pressure. Bottom of the deck is judgment. How many times am I going to see the judgment card over here? Oh gosh. Then we have the Nine of Wands and the Knight of Pentacles. This is that steadfast energy. Let's see. There we go. Maybe. There we go. The Knight of Wands, the Nine of Wands, Pumpkinhead, and the Knight of Pentacles, Warrior. I'm going to take this two ways, and I'm probably going to forget the second way. But the Nine of Wands and the Knight of Pentacles, that's that steadfast energy. And with this being the Pumpkinhead, it's made a makeshift body, but that isn't its actual. Hold up, let me see. Where's the camera? This isn't its actual body, right? Its actual body is the Headless Horseman. But it's fashioned this body out of wood. And the Knight of Pentacles, either way, this is a steadfast energy. Either we're holding to the vision that we have and moving accordingly until the world sort of catches up, or we're kind of sort of keeping ourselves. Okay, I think it's a little bit more of the second, where it's like we're keeping ourselves all tied up instead of freeing ourselves. And as we do that again, it makes us lash out at others because of our own internal sort of whatever we're going through. And then also at the same time, I feel like it can lead us to, if we're not careful, that sort of crab in the barrel mentality, jealousy, envy, and other things like that. That just put out more bad feelings on top of bad feelings. And it's almost this like, usually the Knight of Pentacles is so good. I mean, but Judgment is here at the bottom of the deck. Oh my gosh. Judgment is here. With the Priestess, right? No, with the Empress. With the Empress Kali behind it. Judgment and Kali. Oh my gosh. Cerberus and Kali with the King of Pentacles behind this. So the King of Pentacles is this leprechaun where we should actually be, and not in this position of, and again, it's that Tower in the Seven of Pentacles energy of like, oh, it's, we need to know when to cut our losses, honestly. Because with these two energies, Kali is a goddess associated with sort of more or less purifying toxic masculine energy. There was a demon whose blood would spawn more demons, and so that's why she's drinking it. She's drinking the blood so that it doesn't spawn any more demons, and then her divinity is alchemizing that. And like she was literally made incarnate for this one purpose. And I feel like we kind of sort of twist and morph her story into, or her story was kind of sort of twisted and morphed into kind of sort of just like this bloodthirsty, maybe even sometimes man-hating goddess. When in reality, it's like that's not what she was created for. But if the majority of masculine energy has become and shifted and spoiled into that toxic masculine energy, you could probably see why people would think that she's so aggressive. Bloomin' Rose, what up? What up? What up? How you doing, Bloomin' Rose? Happy Jupiter Direct Day. I don't know what time it's gonna go direct. Let's see. Oh snap! It's 12:34. 12:34 on the clock. Maybe. 12:34. There you go. I keep hitting this camera. You're doing great. Glad to hear it. Thank you for popping in, because I would not have caught that. But I do want to see just real quick where Jupiter goes direct, or when. Jupiter goes direct. Boom. Where is Jupiter? Like 17 degrees Capricorn. 17 degrees Capricorn. So Jupiter is going to go direct, and it's going to hit. You need some good cards. Oh, well, we'll see what comes out. Sorry. I guess it's something that I should mention just, oh, snap. Neptune is 19 degrees Pisces. When did Neptune leave the 20th degree? I didn't even realize. I ain't even recognize. I guess this would be a decent opportunity to bring it up just so it's in the history of this channel, I guess. But I've been thinking for a minute about, in 7 hours and 12 minutes, Jupiter will station direct. So yay for that. 8:47 p.m. Eastern. That's 7:47 p.m. Central, which is interesting because 7:47 is one of those numbers that I kind of see. And every time I see it, I think about airplane, because it's the Boeing 747. That's one of the jets or something, right? Hey Siri, what is a Boeing 747?
The Boeing 747 is a large, long-range, wide-body airliner and cargo aircraft manufactured by Boeing Commercial Airplanes of the United States.
Okay, yeah, it's like the airplane. I actually have a friend who works at Boeing. I have a few friends who work at Boeing, interestingly enough. But I guess when you go to an engineering school, that's not surprising. But yeah, I think I think I talked about it a minute ago, but I think I'm gonna just stick to generals for a while and not answer like personal questions as much, because of it has to be like a fair energetic exchange, right? And I kind of sort of need to start setting energetic boundaries, and I need to start valuing my own time and valuing my own gift. And it is this interesting spot of like, like I don't necessarily, for me personally, it's more about enforcing the exchange. That Six of Pentacles, give, forgive. You're a Boeing 747. Hey, with all that Aquarian energy, we taking out Aquarius, Libra, all that air. Yeah, it's about sort of upholding that exchange more so than anything for me. And it's something that I've been feeling led to do for a minute. So even though I feel some type of way about it, but that's fine. I've been learning a lot of lessons around like valuing not only like self-love, but like enforcing boundaries or something. I don't know. I'm learning as I go along. I've never done this before. And it's typically something, well, I found on this laptop, I found where I save my readings. And so I have my ancient spread on here that actually has all of that sort of information. And I wanted to read through it. I haven't yet. It's a lot to read through. It's like a 50 something card spread. But there's like 13 pairs of cards in the past. I think 11 pairs for the present and 9 pairs for the future. And in that past space, all kinds of stuff can come out. But also a part of me is like, if people need stuff right now, then like, because we're kind of sort of living in that time, but also at the same time, it's like, I don't know. I don't know. And I haven't decided. I was thinking on a like 1 for 3, 3 for 6, 6 for 9. Because again, I don't want it to necessarily like, but then it's a whole thing that I got to figure out. So until it is figured out, I'm just going to hold off on personals. And I'm just throwing that out there for, yeah, I'm still working through it, y'all. But I got to do it. So, right. But anyway, with this judgment and Kali energy, this is interesting because this is saying that there are things that we need to transform. Our problems, when not dealt with, lead to more problems. Where's the camera? There's the camera. Our problems, when not dealt with, lead to more problems. We need to cut it off at the source and start to account for all of that sort of blowback and all of that splashback. And it's almost like, in some ways, not quite, because we're all working through our own things. But it's almost like there's a little bit of, first of all, there's going to be hostility when we set those boundaries. There's gonna, or you can expect a fair amount of hostility when like you pull back because people just, they get used to the access that they have to you. And there was something that I saw a few days ago. One of my buddies posted on his story on Instagram. It said, you're allowed to change the price of what it costs to access you. And I was like, oh, snap. Now, I told that to another one of my friends because that was more applicable for her in the context of that conversation. But I guess it also applies to me. So, and that's something that I've kind of sort of been doing for a minute, honestly. But back to this. Yeah, but that's like, you may encounter some hostility. And it's like, it's so interesting that, I mean, we're all human. So it is what it is. But that our first response and our initial reaction to something would be to be upset, right? Whenever someone's like, hey, I'm gonna like pull back and like do whatever, like it isn't necessarily to like, and sometimes it is, but it isn't necessarily like, are you okay? Like, is everything all right? And then, thank you, Lumen Rose. And I realized, I talked to my mom the other day. I'm not the type of person that really needs too much support that often. But when I do need it, like, I need it. And I don't know. But yeah, I don't need it too often. And it was interesting growing up because like not all of my brothers are the same way. In fact, they're not the same way. And so I'm the kid who didn't really need too much support. But since I didn't need too much support, there was like a perceived lack of attention on my part that made me feel some type of way about the whole situation. And that sort of led to these hostilities that I would hold against other people because when I felt like I wasn't getting what everyone else was getting, but I didn't really need it. And that's one of the things that I talked with my mom about the other day, about just realizing that like growing up, I really felt not neglected, but I just felt like I got less attention. But as I've gotten older and as I've kind of sort of, as we've all come out of that situation, at least physically, some people kind of sort of stay in it mentally or emotionally. And I was there for a minute mentally and emotionally. But it's just like realizing, and I guess maybe it was like when I was out there kind of sort of on my own and it's like taking care of business, I really realized that I don't really need too much. I feel like I don't really ask for a lot, but yeah. But yeah, and then like we don't even think of like, oh, maybe I've been taking too much or maybe I've been overstepping. And that's something I try to stay cognizant of because for whatever reason, I have these friends that keep giving me stuff. And I'm like, maybe it's because my moon is in Taurus in my first house that I don't know astrologically what it is. I do have like Venus is my ruling planet, and my Jupiter is in Libra, which is a Venusian sign. It's ruled by Venus, and so I do get lots of opportunities. Now, my Jupiter is retrograde, so I wouldn't take up a lot of those opportunities in the past. But I always feel bad because I'm like, I didn't get you anything, and they're like, oh, it's okay. And I do. Oh, that's so interesting. I had this dream last night. It was so weird. I had this dream last night or this morning, and Krish from the Vine, and then from the YouTube, and then now on the Instagram or whatever. He was actually in it, and we were being asked questions. It wasn't like a dating show, but the questions that we were being asked were related to like relationships, and the answers that I gave made him think that I was like selfish and that I didn't care about people or something like that. And I realized that like all of the questions that I could have answered that would have showed that caring side of me, like I wasn't getting any of those questions. And it's also interesting because I just watched The Devil Wears Prada like the night before last, and I've been seeing the clips and I've been wanting to watch it, so I watched it and it was amazing. I love that movie. But then I saw deleted scenes from The Devil Wears Prada yesterday, and I watched it while I was on the love seat waiting for my package to come. Oh, where is it? It's back there. I'm not going to ring the bell. Actually, why would I say that? I got it for a reason. If I can reach it. Ooh, where is it? Oh, I don't think I'm going to be able to. Oh, I can't pull my feet out of the tub. But in the deleted scenes, they actually showed that, like, so in the finished cut, we only see of Miranda really approving of and valuing and recognizing Andy, like, towards the end of the movie. But, but there were these other two scenes, and even a scene with Emily, where we showed their nicer, or it showed their nicer side, but it got cut. And of course, it makes the story all the more whatever, but like those were aspects of those people that completely got cut from the movie to really paint Miranda as that devil character. And it was interesting because one of the comments on the video was like, the devil wasn't Miranda. The real devil in the movie was Andy's boyfriend and Miranda's husband. And there was this one scene when Miranda's husband was acting a fool, a whole fool, not a half fool, not a quarter fool, a whole fool and a half. And Andy had to step in and like remedy the situation. And then Miranda mouthed a thank you. And I was like, oh, what? Miranda said, thank you. I was shook. And like, and then I had that dream where it's like, I'm not getting any of the questions that would actually show my compassionate side. And so the last question was like, if you had a friend that you had to take care of for a whole year with nothing in return, like, how would you, like, what would you do? How would you react to that? And he directed the question at me, thinking that I was a selfish a hole and that I didn't care about anybody. And before I could answer the question, the it was almost like live streamed game show setup type thing, and there was a whiteboard, and the like our answers were being like tallied up or whatever, and then there was the director, the proctor, the whatever, and she interjected, and she was like, um, she said something that was like, people of this mindset tend to answer in this way, and people of the other mindset tend to answer in this other way. And neither one of them are necessarily bad. They just express their care or compassion or whatever in different ways. And now my throat is trying to go out. And I'm not going to clear it because that's the thing that we do on these weekly releases. I'll let the water clear my throat. That's what it's down here for. See, and it works. So I was like, well, like if I had a friend who was in need for a year, I would take care of them, especially if I had the funds, because that's one of the ways like that I show my compassion to people. And I've also been in situations where I had to rely on other people. And that was a lot more recently. And it was like that was part of the lesson that I had to learn that put me in a position to begin to be vulnerable. And every time I've been seeing the Nine of Pentacles lately, I've been like getting this feeling of like it's okay and it's good to be self-sufficient and to be self-sustained, but you can't get to a Ten of Cups, you can't get to a Ten of Pentacles if you're not vulnerable. And sometimes that Nine of Pentacles energy can carry one that's too, it's like self-sufficient to the point that it's kind of a little bit of like isolationistic, where we're not open to anyone really coming in and being a partner. We're not really open to partnership because we go so hard in, I can stand on my own. And it's not to be dependent or overly reliant on someone. It's not to weaken oneself. It's not to play oneself down, but it's to be open and vulnerable. Like there are things that other people can give you that you can't give to yourself. Like other people have value, and to not it's okay to not be an island. And so that's the lesson that I had to learn after, because it's interesting. So I had an argument with my mom May 2017. We didn't talk until like October, November. And that's the longest time I ever talked to my mom. I'm such a mama's boy. I never thought that that would happen, but it happened. And then I went on this whole thing of like proving that I didn't need her. Um, because of my experiences growing up and because of the way that I chose to handle them, I decided when I was in like the seventh grade to do my best to not need anybody. And a lot of it was projected out of fear. All of it, more or less, was projected out of fear, and then some like abandonment issues as well. And I was like, you know what? So the only remedy, the only solution is to not need anybody, including my own family, including my own mother. And so when I got that opportunity to be like, you know what, I don't need you, you can leave, I'll find a way to take care of this, I took it. And I took care of a lot of stuff on my own. And I think it was good for her, even though it was hurtful. it was good for her to see that I actually can like take care of myself if I need to. Um, and one of the things that, my mom says a lot is that, like if anything happens to me, I want to know that like y'all will be okay, that y'all will be able to take care of yourselves. Um, and I was able to prove to her through a not great set of circumstances that I can do that. And after my darkest night, October 2018, so like a year after we reconnected roughly, um, well, that sort of kicked stuff off, right? And then I started to, after that, get a little bit closer to my family because I went to London. And when I went to London, there's this group chat that we have. And I was always on there, like showing them stuff and telling them what we were going to be up to and stuff like that. I actually saved all the videos and I wanted to like combine them or edit them into one video, upload it private so I can just watch it myself. Um, Kind of, sort of, I guess that would be what, I don't know. So I could watch it myself. Um, and that was the beginning of me pulling closer to them. I had stopped working. I had charged up my credit card, paying rent because I wasn't working. Um, and I had a little bit of money. So I had up until January basically paid for. And my initial plan was to graduate in December, find somebody to sublease for January to the end of the lease. But I didn't end up graduating because of that darkest night. So I ended up staying in the apartment. I had enough money on my credit card to charge a few months of rent. And when I ran out of that, that's when I had to start asking for help. Now, by the time I started asking for help, I had already gone through my darkest night and I had already kind of sort of realized that like I don't need anybody attitude that came from fears of the future and like fears of abandonment, that it wasn't serving. And so it still was a little bit outside of my comfort zone, but in that time it was a lesson that I had to learn. And because I learned that lesson when I did, when it came to March, um, and I decided the end of March, April basically, when I decided to tackle my like anxieties around relationships and fears of like intimacy and commitment, not necessarily commitment, but I guess there was. So the fear that I had with commitment was more so like because of my own health. And I didn't want to have this mess that I couldn't do anything about and then drag someone else into that I so called love. I was like, well, if I really love somebody, then like how can I expect for them to suffer this when they don't have to? When they can find someone and they can have the life that I wouldn't be able to give them. Um, and so there was a lot of heavy, heavy, heavy stuff around that. And so in April, I decided that it was time to get over that. I was tower chasing last year. Like when I say I was tower chasing, I quite literally mean it. 2019, I was chasing towers, and I'm glad I did because now I have a pretty solid foundation. Um, but so come April, I get on Tinder, I get on Grinder. Before I went to bed, or when I got a match or a message, whichever one of those happened first, I would delete the app. So then I started like messaging people a little bit. Part of me still wanted to delete it. I was talking to my roommate because we were fairly close. And I was like, man, I want to delete it. He was like, no, don't do it, Pat. And I actually ended up finding more meaningful connections on Grinder, which was surprising because Grinders it's not exclusively a hookup app for gay dudes, but it's primarily like that's what people primarily use it for. And I was just in that space to claim that I was doing everything that I could to work through that blockage, right? And so even now when I'm like doing these other things, there are doors that I leave open, not necessarily expecting anything to come from it, but it's like I can't say that I'm doing everything I can if I don't open this door. And it was actually through that door, and it's actually worked out that way several times. It's always the door that I don't expect, but I decide to open it anyway. That's the door that the thing walks through. Um, and so always. And so I that's where I met the dude that I talk about all the time. We connected on this magical day. It was a Wednesday in April. It might have been, I feel like April 6th. No, I think it was April 10th. I think it was April 10th. I think. Don't quote me on that, but I think it was April 10th. Where we actually connected. Now that day, I say it was magical because like there were so many things that happened that day that were kind of low key wild. Like, so at that point, I could barely pay for my rent and I could barely afford to feed myself. So I didn't have a phone. I took my own phone bill like years ago. And so my mom stopped paying for my phone a long time ago. Um, but when I wasn't working, it was like, well, I can pay for rent or I can pay my phone bill. I was like, at that point, I wasn't in class and I was spending so much time inside anyway. I was always on Wi Fi. So I was like, the phone bill is something that I can do without right now. But I didn't have data. And there was this restaurant that we were going to go to eat some lunch. And there was this app that I had where you get deals, right? And so I was in a place with Wi Fi with a buddy and we had decided to go over there and his girlfriend was going to meet us and because she was getting out of class. This was on campus because she was getting out of class and then we were going to go over there for lunch. And so I didn't clip the coupon before I left Wi-Fi, so I get in the restaurant and like I completely forgot about it. I'm like, I don't know why it's not letting me clip this. Like, I'm trying to get the meal deal for lunch, girl. Things are a little tight right now. And she was like, oh, that's weird. But, we also have this special. I was like, what? So it wasn't too much more than what I was already paying. And I got a little bit more as well. I was like, okay, snap. Like, oh, snap, word, guys. And so I placed my order and everything. I was the first one to order. So I'm the first one to sit down. And the dude, like, delivers my order to the table, which was cool. And there were like 3 or 4 other people in there. The 2 people I was with, and then I think there were 2 other people. Everyone else, their name got called and they had to get up and get their food, right? I was the only person that had my food delivered to the table. And I've eaten in this place several times. And when we were like eating our meal, the dude comes around with like free pizza. He was like, hey, this is a new pizza that we're like thinking about putting on the menu. Like, here's 2 slices. Tell us what you think about it. And I was like, what? And it was only 2 slices and it was 3 of us. Now, it was a flavor of pizza that at that time I wasn't into. I hadn't yet started eating vegetables at this moment. Because this was like, this was April 2019. I started eating vegetables like July, June or July. And so like I got the free pizza. I was the only person that had my food delivered to me. It was a good day. I was feeling amazing. And then I got a message on Grindr from a dude with the sparkles emoji as his I use that emoji all the time. But the sparkles emoji was his profile name. Now the sparkles emoji for me was a synchronicity with one of my best friends because whenever we have one of those magical sort of synchronistic moments, the sparkles emoji starts to fly. And his name was a sparkles emoji. And I was like, oh. So look at Mr. Synchronicity sending me a message on this app, walking through this door that I just left open just in case that I literally expected nothing from. I had to like literally put in my like bio on Grindr, like not interested in anything physical. Like I ain't trying to hook up with none of y'all. Stop messaging me, asking Because the answer is no. You're not going to get a reply. And I actually got messages from two dudes. Both of them seemed pretty cool. One of them was taller than me, and that's really cute. And he was kind of sort of like, because I feel like a lot of the dudes that I've come across who are taller than me are pretty like wiry or lanky or thin, and he was like solid. He had a solid frame. I'm like, ooh, I'm into that. I'm into that. And he seemed really cool. Also, like pretty sort of flirty, I guess. It was fun, but that was not Sparkle's emoji. And that's actually the dude who I was a little bit more intrigued by for all of the reasons that I just mentioned. But Sparkle's emoji, we ended up becoming like really, really, really good friends. We talked a lot. I love talking to him. He's one of those people who I feel like can be very like, he can be extremely cerebral and analytical, but he can also be like more lighthearted. And I feel like I get that side of Gemini that I love, but I also get this other side. And he's a Pisces. So I was like, oh, okay, work. I'm Pisces sun, Leo moon. And every time I talked to him, he was like, I don't see that Leo moon. I don't see it. But like me, well, I guess, do I see it? I feel like I do, but not in like stereotypically Leo ways. I feel like in more like realistically Leo ways, I see it. Um, and it's that side of Leo that like the shiny exterior can kind of sort of drown out low key. Where's my bowl? It's fine. I'm going all the way off topic. I don't know where I'm going, but that's how these things kind of sort of work, right? The weekly releases are rambles tied to cards, and we talk about stuff. I talk about stuff, and so I remember at that point there were a whole bunch of planets retrograde in the sky, and I think Mercury was also retrograde at that time, and that's when I was like just really getting into astrology. I didn't still know that much. I had like just really learned or remembered the like seven chakras. I didn't even at that point too much like know as much as I know now, of course, because a year has passed. That was like end of July or end of June going into July. So we talked April 10th. We talked a lot. We met up May 5th. Now there was a whole interesting because like so I cast it. I guess I can show it. I cast it. I think I still have it. I cast it out 2019. Um, and I did a little 7 card reading. Um, in I think it was the end of 2018 or really early 2019 about my person. At that point, I didn't have a person, but we came out as the sun and the moon. Now, coming out as the sun and the moon now means a whole lot more than it did then, but that's how we came out. And when I first got into the cards, I would always come out as the moon, but at some point during that summer, I started coming out as the sun, which was interesting. Let me see if I can find this picture. And so, his name was a synchronicity already for me. And as I got to know him more and more and more, I was just like extremely interested. And there was a lot of compatibility there. Well, comparatively, I had never dated anybody or really talked to anybody. I had never allowed myself the opportunity I was never that open or that vulnerable with somebody until I met him. So, it's like, it ain't necessarily all that all the time. Oh, I think it was on my iPad and I just wiped that the other day because I had way too many like videos stored on it. But if I go to photos and if I go to December 2018. I might find it. 1 second, y'all. I hope it's in here. So I was like, oh, like he's the sun card, I'm the moon card, potentially, right? At that point, I wasn't like, oh, yes, this is definitely the person. But it was sometime around February. Oh, it's right here. I think, is this it? No, that's not it. It was sometime around February or March, when I got this feeling of the future. It wasn't necessarily a vision, but it was incomplete. And at first it was solo. Oh, here's all the London videos. Okay, here's a 17-second one. Let's see what this is about.
Today, we walked a lot. But I'm headed back. I'm about to kick off my shoes, kick up my feet, kick back, relax.
That was it. Was that the day that we landed? Because I was exhausted. I was exhausted.
All right, home team, we're on the ground now.
Yeah,
so
that's
the
today.
building. And up there,
look at this.
Sky Lounge.
Hold on, wait. Like this. Oh,
hey, home team, I just made it out. I don't know if you can see. You see that building right there?
This was insane. Oh, hold up. Okay.
Hey, home team, I just made it out. I don't know if you can see. You see that building right there? I have to show it on the way back. That's where we're staying. And we're headed to a river or something. That's fine.
Anyway, that building to me was insane.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can find the video. I'm low-key afraid of heights, y'all. I'm tall enough. And I'm clumsy too.
In a random park on the way back.
And so on the Sky Lounge, they literally had, I don't think it's on here. It was like this piece of glass that was separating me from the ground. I was like, oh my gosh. And the little walkway was not wide enough. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm about to bust through the ground because I'm a big dude. I'm too heavy for this. But on the last day, I faced my fears and I went out, and it was amazing. Of course, I hugged the wall because, like I said,
hey, home team. So I feel like, well, no, I'm afraid of heights. Look at
this. And it was super windy. I feel like I was gonna blow off.
I stepped out there. He was like, oh, it's I came right outside the door. Look at it.
Anyway, I'm sorry, y'all. Where is it? And so, anyway, we met up in May. And it was like this procrastinating type thing. I'm like, boy, like we meeting up today. We was already supposed to meet up a week ago. I was like, May is the month. Oh, here it is.
It's recording, by the way. I try not to die. Unfortunately, my cloud auto backup is off, so if I die, it won't even upload. Stop speaking in a British accent. It's not an accent, mate. It's where I'm from.
We went to Nando's. This is a picture of us in a Christmas tree. It was a Nando's because it was like Christmas. It was the week of Thanksgiving. And it was so weird that they didn't have Thanksgiving, but there were like Black Friday sales. And I think Black Friday is something that they had just started getting into. It was definitely after this. Oh, it was January. It was January 2019. Because I was like, oh, I should have did it before the year. Okay, let me go. I'm trying to show y'all this. Well, here's January 30. Maybe it was around my birthday. If I can't find it, I can't find it. And I can just continue to tell the story. There's my birth chart. So I got a picture of my birth chart. What day is this? February 6, 2019. So that's when I officially had that's like right before I started to get into astrology. Feb 6, 2019. Some of that is really interesting. I know it was either like right before or right after my birthday. Is this it? No, that's not it. Here it is. Is this it? Is this it? No, that ain't it. That ain't it either. Come on. It's somewhere around here, though. I'm starting to see the cards. I'm starting to see cards. Where's my year ahead? Well, it's looking like I may not be able to find it, which is tragic. I know I sent it to this phone, and I don't think I put it in my app either. Oh, here's a cat that's missing an eye on March 18th. Hey, that's my aunt's birthday. She a Pisces. Hey, March 20th, that's my brother's birthday. He a Pisces. Is this a video? Oh, it's a picture. 24. It was his 24th birthday. Let's see. So we're getting to the end of March, and I know I did a prosperity journal. I forgot about that. Let's read this. And it was all about sort of, I think it was a spread that I saw on Benabel Wynn's channel. She has a Sight See the Tarot. It's a series where she walks through tarot spreads, and I've done a few of them. I love them, honestly. And there was one, it was a series about your relationship with money and abundance. So I took this picture. Can I get a date and time, please? March 27th at 1:26 a.m. And it says, because of where I've been and how I've interacted with people, this is an affirmation. My skill and mastery is already recognized. What I've been involved with and those who have crossed my path now see me in a way that I didn't see myself. My bountiful heart and abilities were recognized by someone, and as they enter a new endeavor or have an opportunity come up, they will think of me. Oh, okay. They will know that I'm capable of carrying the spark. This opportunity given to me will not be one of chance. It will be something that I've earned through sheer virtue of who I am and how I am. They will freely and gladly give me this opportunity that I have prepared myself to accept. I need only to remember this. Take advantage of every opportunity and seize those things that float to you which are yours. There was no chance. I've been in preparation for this reaping for years, and the bounty will be more than I could have even imagined. Oh, snap. I'm going to hit that in the favorites because that's coming. That was March 27, 2019. It's been a whole year and a half. I guess I still had some more preparation. Who was this? Oh, okay. That's who that is. Sorry. Here's another one. Oh, I think I took a picture of some of these and I sent them to Emily. This one is from, what's the date? March 29th at 3:01 a.m. Y'all can see what time I do work. So 2 days later. Today's focus, know and understand your worth. Realize that you can serve others and live this life that you want at the same time. Understand that by recognizing your value, sticking to your guns when dealing with that quality of your service, like, yeah, and being uncompromising, it will allow more abundance in. The interesting thing with money is that it's exchanged for goods and services. So the more valuable the service, the more people will spend. The more you truly see your services and quality of service as valuable, the more abundance you will welcome into your life. It's weird that this follows what I've been hearing, that there are those who saw an increase in abundance when their goal was to add value to something/someone, and that their pursuits led to that value being increased even more, which in turn led to an increase in abundance. That's only like a little bit. I'm sure I did more. And then here's somebody else's chart. That's probably my roommate's. So on April 10th, oh no. So yeah, it was April 10th. It was April 10th. Because on April 10th, I did the birth chart for the friend that I met while we were waiting for his girlfriend to go to lunch. And then it was the same day that I got a message from Sparkles Emoji. But I am not seeing the spread. And it could have been a little bit closer to May, to when we actually met. Because then maybe I was like, oh, I want to put that on my phone. Maybe not. I'm not seeing it. That's tragic. So anyway, when I casted out 2019, the moon card came out for May. And the sun card was this background energy. And the sun and the moon were touching. Hello? Am I even still live? My camera froze. Oh my gosh. The camera froze. Goodness. This happened before. I wish I could like pause a live. Can I still hear myself?
Can I still hear myself?
Yeah, I can hear myself. Okay, cool. But the camera froze. So the mic is